Oh, what's up, nerds? Welcome back to another episode of the Aggressively Average Anglers. And this just so happens to be the last episode of the year. So we're just rolling out of 2023. We figured we might as well go ahead and just step up from the review of a lot of the stuff that we use and go with like our best and worst. And maybe worst is the wrong term. I was thinking about this. Maybe it's more like biggest letdown, most disappointing, something like that. It was meh or mid for us, for you Gen Zers out there. It was just not up to par. It wasn't something that we're happy with. We're going to be talking about products, sure, but we're also going to talk about places we went, fishing trips we went on, other stuff that happened this year. It's just all in all like a 2023 recap. And right away to start the show off, we got Tagly 2345. Welcome as a member, my friend. And yeah, we got Dad Pops on today because I mean it's the end of the year. It's like literally it's that gap week between Christmas and New Year's. It's the weirdest week. Like some people work, some people don't. Some people got it off. Some people, it's just, but what do? You just eat cookies, right? Because you have 1,000 cookies from Christmas. You probably drink because you got whatever leftover beverages from
someone brings over 9 buzz balls and you only drink 6 of them. You gotta drink the other 3.
I mean, somebody's got to drink the other. So I think we're gonna have some fun tonight, you guys. It's gonna be a blast, and we will be doing a shmiv-away at the end of the show. Shmiv-away will be for a shirt from the shop. So you pick your shirt, you pick your size. I just ship it to you, nice and easy. It's a lot of fun. I think that's maybe the way that we do shmiv-aways from now on. It's just super easy for us, and you guys get some swag that hopefully you're proud to flaunt around. All right. So for tonight, going into best and worst. Before we get into this, if you guys are listening to the podcast, drop a 5-star review wherever you're listening to it. And if you're on YouTube, just go ahead and share this with any of your fishing friends out there. If they're not doing anything tonight, what is this? December 27th. What a weird night. Wednesday, like nothing is happening. So jump on the live. There's a shmiv-away tonight. Just get your friends in here and then smash that like and subscribe. All right. So let's get into this. We're going to start with a would you rather. Right. Because I mean, again, we've racked up 457 would you rathers and over unders on our Alabama trip. So this is one of those. This is an interesting one for the way that the kayak industry is going. So would you rather have a motor on your kayak or a fish finder, sonar, graph, whatever you want to call it? You only get one. So you get an electronic device, one that propels you and one that shows you the fish. Which one do you choose, Paul?
Assuming that this means forward facing.
Well, you could assume that, but it could mean anything. Honestly, it's just your ability to see depth, water temp, and maybe fish.
It's tough because if it was just that, God, I hate to say that. This was hard. I remember having this conversation on the drive home.
Yeah, we answered this on the drive home, so you better not change your answer.
That's what I was just trying to remember. I don't remember my answer. I think it's gotta be graph.
Yeah, I agree. And this is the answer that we came up with. So we were thinking about it, and it's whether it's forward facing or not. That's why I wanted to point that out.
Yeah.
Because your ability to see structure, depth, and even just those 3 things, water temp, it tells you so much about how you should be fishing. And a motor, while getting you from one spot to another really quickly, is not doing any of those things. So it's like, you're out there to get on fish. If I was just out there to just motorboat around, sure.
It'd be tough to motorboat around without a motor. Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So it's like, if you just want to move, you get the motor. But if you want to fish, which I believe most of us do here, then it's the graph. Like you got to have a sonar. And I mean, I think most people in chat right now are agreeing with us. I'm seeing graph. A few people saying motor, totally get it. And I think there's an argument to be made. And at the same time, it's like, yeah, I want to catch fish.
Wait, what? Graph. So off the hook, I'm curious as a co-angler, why you don't like forward facing.
As a co-angler, not a fan of forward-facing sonar. I'm always getting back-boated by my anglers and tourneys. Well, that would be why, dude. Like, he can't use it. So if the forward-facing sonar graph is up front and whoever is the main angler of the boat, they're commandeering said forward-facing sonar, you can't play those fish as a co-angler. So I get it. if you own the boat off the hook, would you be
Well, I
down
think
for
he's
forward facing?
saying because I think Elizabeth Z has it right. The best spot is up front, and if they're always
Yeah.
using the forward-facing sonar, then they're not off the front of the boat. But like that that angler's only going to the back of the boat because that's where the fish are anyway. So anytime you're getting the front of the boat, you're still getting the back of the boat, if that makes sense.
Unless you own the boat. So like the point is the person operating said vessel is
Yeah.
controlling said forward
Yeah.
facing sonar. So I mean, like, yeah, I get it from a co-angler's perspective. And that said, like, if you're the main pilot of said vessel, like, you're fine. If you are the captain of your vessel,
Yeah.
off the hook, be a captain. I'm fishing used water. Yeah, I mean that's fair too. Being a
As
co-angler
a co-angler,
can
yes.
suck. It can
I've been
suck.
I've been in the back of the boat with someone who's
Same.
catching fish and have not been able to catch fish
Mhm.
because I have to cast where they've already casted. I've had that happen before, period.
Yeah. It's not nearly as fun. And also, like, if you and I do this sometimes too, if you go fishing with a buddy in kayaks and let's say the river, for example, like or wading too, if you're the person ahead, typically
Yeah.
they're fishing those spots first. So
Mhm.
some of those spots get fished out and then you're coming in behind.
Yeah.
Like there could be pros and cons, but there's like a lot of cons to that in that
Well, even just
you're
especially
fishing
in
the
the
used
river,
water.
but having to be disturbed. I mean, you just gotta you're basically a
Yeah.
permanent follow-up bait.
You got to do something different. Yeah, you got to have that
Mhm.
follow-up, that 1-2 punch. So yeah, interesting question. It looks like chats with us. We go graph or we go sonar, whatever you
No
want to
one
call it.
said motor.
A few people said motor,
Oh,
actually.
they did?
And I think they just want to like power up to those spots. Maybe they don't use graphs on the typical day. And to them, I say, awesome. I love it. All right. So let's get going into the best and worst. What do you say? You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Love the hat, by the way. It's freaking, is that a redfin out there?
It's a redfish.
Redfish?
God,
Yeah.
that thing is sick.
Dude, I love it. Who's what brand is that?
Duck Camp.
Oh, dude. Nailed the
Yeah.
artwork. Love
Quality,
the artwork.
baby. Quality.
All right. Just wanted to call it out. Anybody likes Paul's hat? Duck Camp. Anybody who likes a crankbait hat? Must rest. Also, Old Town sent us some swag, so that's pretty sweet. Oh no. There we go. Got it back. Got blurry there for a second. You got to do remember the old squid? I haven't had to do the squid in a long time.
God.
Old Town sent us some swag, so that was pretty cool. This is a very comfy hoodie. I'm stoked about
I'm
it.
excited.
All right. So best and worst, or things that we loved and things that we were disappointed with, right? Let's get into it. We're gonna go with first, start out with the bright stuff, right? The good things, the tops of all categories. We wanted to pick out about 5. I got some runner-ups here as well. So we'll start out with the first one. The first one you called out, actually. Something that you picked up this year is for BFS, big freaking scam fishing. And you grabbed the Shimano Majestic XT, which comes it's a billion different options that you have for this rod. You can get it AliExpress, whatever Asian portals you want to go through, or you can get it from Bait Finesse Empire, which is where we like to get our BFS stuff as well. So the Shimano Majestic XT, we're ranking it as one of the best products we got this year. Why is that, Paul?
So we tested, I don't know, I got to test probably 5, maybe 6 BFS rods this year. And it was the most polished, maybe tied with the Cash and Icon for like most polished, like
for half the price of the Cash and Icon.
For half the price. So the price tag when I bought it was $115, but less than $150 was so good. And like the color scheme, I thought I was gonna hate it. Once I got it in hand, I was like, dude, this thing is banging. And it fished really well. It's like it's stiff enough where you can do whatever you need it to do, like frog fishing even, but it's sensitive enough and just the right amount of softness for crankbaits. So I recommend it to anyone. We found out that maybe it's not getting mass produced anymore, but I'm still going to recommend it because if you can find it, I still think it's worth it.
You can find it. So it's on AliExpress in about 16 different options. And then on BFE, they still have it as well. Comes in and out of stock, a couple different variations, something that we highly recommend. So yeah, if you're looking into BFS fishing, you want to get a really solid rod for under $200, that's the one. It varies in price depending on where you end up ordering it. So just wanted to call that out. That is and I got to fish it for a little bit as well. That is Paul's rod, but I got to fish it a little bit. And yeah, definitely. I agree. I think
the grip is a sleeper.
Amazing.
The grip is such a sleeper. For foam and hard plastic, it's such a sleeper.
For a 2-piece with foam and hard plastic, very comfortable and impressive as far as like just in general rods go. Like it's awesome. Okay, next one. And this is
a no-brainer. Number 2 was turd baits. So the gravity, aka poop shaped baits.
Yep.
This was definitely in the top. I was so
it blew my mind.
It was shocking how good it worked.
They worked so well. And it was one of those things where I was like, are we making a novelty video or not? Right. Because you guys know, like we've played around with the novelty baits, the just
they're gonna come up later.
The weird stuff they will come back later. And most of the time it is what you think it is. They're trash. Like they are what they are. Sometimes they surprise you. Most of the time they don't. Poop baits do not fall, in our opinion, into these novelty baits. Not at all.
No.
They have a very specific purpose. And I find that like the biggest argument against them is that people will say that's what a Senko does. And like a Senko can do that. It does actually fish differently though. So you got to look at it differently. You get this sort of like some of them will teeter-totter, some of them will like seesaw back and forth. You get a very unique action with it compared to a Senko. Like surprise, surprise, they're a little bit different. And they are hefty. So you can huck those bad boys out there. They're not all created equal. You'll hear about another one later on in our worst category, but most of them we were very impressed with, especially the Yamamoto Yamanuki. That thing is the bomb. Yeah.
To think that a Senko is going to punch the same way as a poop bait is insane to me.
That's the main thing. It's so hefty and like it will go through the pad. We were fishing pads. The vast majority of times that we were fishing the gravity baits, it was in the pads. And like a Senko can go into the gaps if you're hyper accurate. I'm not that accurate a caster.
I don't have to worry about it.
I would love it if I were. You don't have to worry about it. It will just plop right through those gosh dang pads. And there are fish sitting right underneath there. And I had some of the best fishing days of my entire life on gravity baits. So I just want to call it out. If you're a non-believer, like I hear you, they look crazy. I recommend go out and pick up the Yamamoto Yamatanukis in any color you want. I don't care what it is. Go with your favorite color styles, right? Whatever they are. You like gizzard shad, they got those. You like sexy shad, they got that. That's the first one that we grabbed. Yeah. Whatever you want, grab it, go fish those. You're going to have a blast. And the Yamatanukis are high value, very high value compared to, the depths is a little bit more expensive. You got the Fish Arrow heavy poop baits. Those are very expensive. You got some other brands out there. Yamatanukis, great option. Go pick them up. Love them. All right. So poop baits. I love that it's our second option. It's right up there, top 5. The next one, we actually didn't get to fish this yet. And yet I'm still so excited about it that it ended up on our best list, our tops, right? And that is the Arc BFS reel. And this is one of the last times we'll mention BFS because I know my BFS haters are up in here. But the Arc BFS and in general, the Arc reels I'm really excited about. We're probably going to go pick up a Gravity 5 or 7 because they're just that good. Like we're just that pumped about them. So the Arc BFS, if you guys don't know, if you've ever heard of the Hobie Arise Air, it's the same braking system, and that's because Arc actually patented it. So there's a whole hullabaloo about this, and every time I mention the Arc BFS, somebody's like, that's a Hobie Arise Air. We might end up putting them head to head. But the point is, those companies work together. It's actually Arc's braking system. They patented it, and it's really freaking nice. Now, they claim you can cast down to a 1/50th of an ounce, which is obscene to me for BFS, for casting, right? I'm excited to try that out. Obviously, we're going to test it. You guys will see that in the spring. I just got it in, so unfortunately, it came in like super late in our fishing season. It's toast at this point. Michigan weather is crazy right now, but it's just not.
48 today.
It's so weird, but it's just not feasible to go out there. Like the fish are not. They're not behaving. That said, we're gonna test this thing out. Very good looking reel. I posted an Instagram reel about it over on our IG channel. If you guys want to go check that out, at Triple Anglers, AA Anglers, you guys can see it there. Couple of first looks, couple pics, and a video on that. It's legit, and I can't wait to put that thing to the test. I'm gonna put it through the ringer this year. Okay. The next one was really, really fun. It kind of pairs up with a trip that we'll talk about later. Alabama rigs. Now, all of my A-rig folks out there who have been throwing A-rigs since they were a wee lad, they probably are like, well, duh, obviously, those are amazing. We have never used them before, not once ever. So the Alabama rig was like both an amazing surprise and also like a skill evolution for us. We got a chance to throw them a whole ton in Alabama. Oh, this is so weird. So we went down to Alabama for the Knucklehead Bass Fishing Series, and we were like, well, obviously we got to throw an A-rig down here. We did. We caught a ton of fish on these things. And I learned a lot about them, why have blades, why not have blades, the length of the wires that you have on them, the weights that you have on the jig heads you have on, swivels, etc. Like all those different things. I learned so much. So it was really cool to kind of like get a chance to expand the arsenal a little bit and like add another tool in the toolkit, and obviously have it work. Right. Part of what we tried to go into this year with, and we're making some changes to the channel, as you guys know, is we're like, oh, we'll pick, a rig, like a Carolina rig, a Alabama rig, like whatever, drop shot. And we're just going to try to master that. We're going to learn, we're going to do research. And, realistically, the time just isn't there. Like we just don't have the time to do that. But this was probably the greatest example of what we set out to do with the year and like actually had an opportunity to succeed with was the A-rigs, right? Like we did the research, we had the equipment for the gear for it, we ordered a bunch of different types of A-rigs, and we got to try them, and we caught fish on them. It was a huge win for us. So I would say 100% that ends up on the top list for us. Now, Paul has actually somewhere behind him there in his tackle situation, he actually has an ultralight A-rig from some random person we found on Instagram who is making a killer design. Now, kudos to our buddy B Dooley for making his own design and sending them to us. Big shout out to that guy because he put his head to the grindstone and made the thing happen and shipped it out to us, and we tried it out. They were solid. These are like molded, professionally done, like insane. So Paul's got one here. He's going to show you guys. Dude, look at that thing. Those blades are they stuck in that one spot, or do they move up and down? Like welded in place? Yes.
Stuck.
Okay. Yeah. Dude, that is legit though.
Yep.
So we'll be showing you guys a video on this. We'll do an unboxing of whatever ones that we actually got. How many did you order, Paul?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Oh my god. It's already
8, 9,
so
10?
many.
10.
Why 10? Straight to 10.
Should I have started with 20?
I should try this ultralight A-rig.
I'll take them all.
Let me get 10. Let me get every single type you make. I'll take 10. So Paul obviously ordered a lot.
Well, here's the deal. You guys are going to see a video on this. This is something that we found that a lot of people have identified as a gap in the market. And there's a lot of excitement for it. So we want to, one, showcase that someone is already making them and making them well. And you should support those you should support the folks who are out there tinkering.
It's the little people like you, Clark.
Yes. And go away. And so I think that, it's important to showcase that. But I mean, the other thing too is like, it's just friggin' cool. So you'll get to see a little more detail on that one. But I really wanted to showcase like everything that they can make.
Yeah, and 100% Corey White, they do well in spring. They actually do, they exceed
Their
in
best.
cold water, which is what we learned this year. So we went down to Alabama. Alabama had this like cold front that came through. So water temps were down, and it worked out for us. Now, some people did better with like just being patient and flipping up on docks really shallow. So we didn't win the tournament, but it was still a blast, and we still caught dozens and dozens of fish on A-rigs. So yeah, they do excel in cold water. If you do a little bit of research on them, you will learn a lot. We've done a video on them, and we will do more videos on them because they can work really well in Michigan. It's something I didn't believe until we started learning and doing our research on this. So you guys will see us fishing those more often. So I'm excited about that. Oh, cool. This is something that will come up later too. Crush City Baits for Christmas. Cisco calling that out. But yeah, so these ultralight A-rigs, they're amazing. They look really good. I bet that they fish really well. I'm excited for them. And yeah, we were so pumped about it. Well, I say Paul was so pumped about him when he found this guy on Instagram. He was just like, yo, let me just like buy those. And he bought freaking 10 of them. I love that. That's like an example of how all in we just do this stuff sometimes. All right. So let's go to the next one. Really pumped about this. Mule fishing, you guys, had a freaking not really just 1 year, but 2 years. The last 2 years, Ethan Duvetter, if you guys don't know him, otherwise known as at Fish Anything, any platform you guys look on, Instagram, I don't know if he's on TikTok, but Instagram and YouTube at least. But go check out Fish Anything. Go check out, obviously, mule fishing. If you guys like ultralight fishing, if you just like catching fish, I don't care what kind of fish you like to fish, you're going to catch them on mule fishing products. They have been dropping so many products the last couple of years. It's obscene. And to think that it's owned by one person, like one person, Ethan Duvetter, is operating all of this. All the products they dropped makes no sense. So that's absolutely, obviously a top 5 for us. So this year, at least, we know that they dropped the jackworm, which is a really customizable curly tail worm that you can cut down to a speed worm. You can cut it down to a finesse worm. You can make it a Ned rig. You can do drop shot with it. You can do anything.
Curly tail trailer.
So many fish on this thing. It's absurd. Really love it. Oh, look at that. So Chaz is calling some links out from mule fishing. A couple different links you got there. So you got mulefishing.com would be their website, and then YouTube/@fishanything would be their YouTube channel. So they dropped the jackworm. We got the Bronco blades, which is like an upgraded little mini inline spinner, a beetle spin, if you guys remember those.
Responsible for probably a lot of people's most oft catched lure this year.
Yes, like it's absurd. Everything will bite that. It's a blast, and you can customize them to your heart's content because they pair up with your mule fishing jigs and plastics. And then they also dropped the brand new, we just got these, the double-sided box. So mule fishing drops a box for $10 freaking dollars, dude. $10 this box. Look at this. Double-sided foam, perforated foam on one side, so you can just slot your hooks in there, throw your jigs in there, stuff you got pre-rigged, whatever. Just slot that in there, flip it over. You can cut out those dividers. And I've actually already set up one of these boxes. We'll do in a video coming up here, you guys. But I've got it filled up with, I don't know, 100 mule fishing jigs. It holds a lot. It holds way more than you think. I've got my little ultralight pig jigs in there, the skirted ultralight mule fishing jigs. Those are a blast. Those are in there as well. Yeah, it holds a ton. It's a killer product. And then previously, we think it was last year, would be the burrow bug, the little micro craw. Ultralight Texas rigging that bad boy has been absurd. Just all year long, you can just ultralight Texas, throw a 1/16 or even a 132 ounce worm weight on your BFS or your ultralight setup and just get a size 2 EWG. We were using the what is it, the Ryugi, right?
Ryugi, yeah.
Ryugi? The Hobbit EWG. It's a little tiny EWG there, size 2. And you can rig the burrow bug on it. So you got a micro craw. I don't care where you throw that thing, you're catching fish. It's absolute blast. Love it. And in fact, that comes up in our honorable mentions for top stuff, the best things from this year. Learning to ultralight Texas rig. Ultralight Texas rigging is insane. You just throw a 1/16 ounce worm weight, like I said, or even a 132. Go flip around a craw. Go flip around your Ned rig weights or your Ned rig plastics on a smaller size EWG. You're going to catch an insane amount of fish. So that is one of my favorite tactics from this year that I picked up. Just ultralight Texas rig. It's so fun. Fish hammer those things. You're going to get a wide variety of species and size of fish with that too. That's the really cool thing about that is like, you're not, unlike what people think ultralight fishing is, you're not like restricting yourself to bluegill and perch and like just general panfish. You're going to catch bass and you're going to catch them of all sorts of sizes. And I learned this year, so you guys coming up for spring, bed fish with that. If you're in a bed fishing spot where you can do that, like, go ultralight Texas rig. They will eat that stuff up. It's awesome. So there you go. So ultralight Texas rig. And then 2 other honorable mentions I'm going to throw out there, things that we're really stoked about. One was actually the Fish Lab spinner baits, which I did not think were going to be as good as they were. Like, Fish Lab, I think to me, it's been like 50-50. 50% of the time I'm blown away. 50% of the time I'm like, yeah, I don't need this, right? The spinner baits were killer. And like the little trailer tail, the mimic tail that they made for them, was really impressed by that. It actually, I feel, and I think Paul feels as well, like it gave the spinnerbait really good action. They were fun to fish with, and they caught us a ton of fish.
They're easy.
Like, yeah, it's an easy rig. And like, how many fish did you catch on that thing? Like we I don't know. We got to fish it probably like 4 months, 3 months.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not that. I mean, I probably fished it 10 times.
Okay.
I caught a fish every time I used one.
Yeah. I mean, like
yeah.
It works.
I don't know. They're legit. And a lot of times I would have it on a spinnerbait, and I'd be like, oh, sure wish I had a green pumpkin trailer for this swim jig or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'd be like,
grab your mimic tail.
And I would grab the one that's already being used and just thread it off and then slap it on the new one. Like, it's awesome. Yeah.
The mimic tails, I love them for a trailer bait. Like, it is, they're awesome. Another honorable mention I want to throw out there would be Nako. Now, not necessarily all of them, but a lot of the products that they drop. So, for example, I had some issues with some of the drop shot weights where like the actual like tie-in point and the weight would separate. It happened to me like 3 times, which is really weird. That said, a lot of the other products that they had, especially just like the tungsten weights, like you can get pretty affordable tungsten. I feel like their durability was good. Some of the hooks were good, some of them weren't, but it's like we found that the affordability, the value factor was there. And it's like, if I'm just, a casual fisherman, if I just want to go out there and catch some fish, this is like a great spot. So that was a company we didn't know existed. And we were just like, oh, neat. We found this. And we picked up a bunch of their products. We tried a bunch of things. They have a lot of cool stuff, and they have a lot of unique stuff too. They've got skirted punch weights. They've got some really nice like ball head jigs. And obviously they came out with the Flight Feather Reel this year, which I enjoyed thoroughly. Now we have the Cormorant, which is like the upgraded version of that. It's quite a bit more expensive, and I'm not sure that we can make an argument for it. But the Flight Feather, like the blue and orange reel for BFS that you guys have seen us fish, that one I can make an argument for. At $150, like I think it's totally worth it. 150, 160. I don't quote me on the price right now. This guy right here, though, the Cormorant, aka the Dark Knight,
175.
Yeah, aka Bruce Wayne's roommate. Like, this reel right here is sick looking. It does have upgraded gears and stuff. It's really hard to differentiate the two, honestly. We put them side by side. We tried to like pick it apart. We were like, how do we justify this? And I was like, I don't know that I can. So other than the fact that it's, I mean, if you just want to spend up for all black, like the blackout edition, I don't know that I can make that argument. That said, the Kingfisher, I feel, is totally worth it. Like, so again, NACO, just finding a lot of the products that they have, I thought that was really cool. I would even throw like Bait Finesse Empire in there as well, because we met those guys this year. As far as like best of this year, those guys are the best. Like, those guys are
they're
awesome.
the best.
Yeah, Bait Finesse Empire, all those guys, they know what they're talking about. And then you got like from their social media side, you got the Hunter Fisher and RAR Fishing. If you guys aren't following them, go follow them. If you like ultralight stuff, BFS stuff, these guys know what they're talking about. They're crushing it. So just wanted to call them out as well. Shout outs to Mainstream Fishing. What's up, my dude? Happy New Year, nerds. Thankful for y'all. Hey, man, we're thankful for you too. Thank you so much. Remember, for 14 months. Gosh dang. Look at this relationship fly. All right. So going on to our bottom 5, our worst of the worst, our most disappointing, our we wish this never happened things from this year. What's the first one, Paul? I'm not allowed to say this word anymore.
Everybody knows it's Temu. It is what it is. And we say everything, but like, look, here's the deal. We bought couple different rounds of stuff. Bought everything from like Yeezys,
we did 7
Yeezys,
videos
all the way up to like jerk bakes and poppers and all that sort of thing. So we got it, and we did some tools. We did some plastics. We did a nice spread, right? I would say 87.5% of what we got was not worth the low price that we paid. The remaining 12.5% ish was fine, serviceable, only 1 or 2, maybe 3 home runs. That's about it.
Yeah. No, it was not what everybody claimed it was going to be, is what I would say. And the biggest issue for me is like, the concept was fun. The concept of Temu is fun. It's like, oh, let's go on this website.
$1
let's buy a bunch of $1 things. We know they're going to be trash. Like, we know they're going to be trash. We'll get them in, and we'll be like, these are garbage. Like, everybody knows they are. And then we did that. We gave our opinion because they are trash. And the Temu fans, oh my gosh, that was the worst part about it. Was that the fans were so upset that we didn't like Temu. And I don't get it. The biggest argument that is made in favor of Temu is like, oh, all these products are made in the exact same manufacturing facilities as all of your popular favorite brands. And to that effect, they're suggesting that they are the same quality.
Nope.
Which they are not. That is not an argument that can be made, because that is false. They are not at all the same quality. They are not the same make. No. That is incorrect. I'm sorry. I don't know who's spreading these nonsense lies, but you just take, for example, like a swim bait. So we had the fake battalion, right? And they're like, oh, that fake battalion's made in the same facility. No, it is not. Absolutely not. Completely different plastic, completely different components. All the hooks are different. Like, no, you get what you pay for. And that was the point that we tried to make with that video that just fell flat with these guys. It was one of our just most, divisive videos that we posted this entire year. Yeah, all 7 of those videos totally polarizing.
And all the pro America hawks were like, never buy anything from China. We're imploding our own country.
I was like, that's the point I'm making. Like, don't buy these lures. But also, everything you love is probably.
And there were some things, exactly. There were some things that I thought were quality that we got that were solid. And it was things that you can rely on that weren't complex. Like when they were basic, simple things, it was like, no problem. This is fine. Like coat hangers. Go buy those from Temu all day.
Yep. Just average household items. Go get them from Temu. I don't care. Your chatterbaits, though, people were claiming these.
Do not do that.
The $1.36 chatterbaits were like legit. The hooks folded out immediately.
Who's gonna know?
Are they gonna know? I do this. This song's so much longer than I thought it was.
Well, we had previously only cut it to seconds. Chaz playing it's in entirety.
Chaz did the entirety. So that was the famous Temu song. That is actually from a
Maytel Master.
the Maytel Masters reel sold on Temu, which is this one right here. And
I can recommend the song. I can't recommend the reel.
This was another one. I had somebody personally message me that this reel was their favorite reel of all time. And I just hard disagree.
Could not disagree more. That means you've never had a reel.
You've never owned another reel and you were like, wow, this casts lures.
This casts.
It can. It totally can. But anyways, it needed to make our bottom 5. You guys know that. We're not making any more.
Maytel Master is at the bottom of the bottom.
Oh, 100%. We're not making any more Temu videos. Deal with it. No. It's not fun for us to do because it's going to be bad. It's just going to be bad. And then people are going to be mad at us because we don't like it. So get out of town, Temu. Stop emailing me. I will not be influencer for you. All right. Next up, we talked about poop baits. We talked about these gravity baits, right? One of the ones that did not.
What was the biggest con of a gravity bait?
Well, the biggest con of a gravity bait is the destructibility of it. Like, they do tend to fall apart. They're extremely salted up plastisol. Like, it degrades the durability of the product. That said, like, it does what you need it to do. Some of them are re-riggable. Like, so for example, the Yamatanuki. How many fish did we catch on a Yamatanuki before?
You catch a dozen before it falls apart.
You can catch a dozen because all you do is you keep rotating it on your hook. You just re-rig, flip it upside down, re-rig. So you can actually use that, for example, a lot. The missile baits Bomba is another one I'll call out. Super cheap in terms of gravity baits. It's very affordable. Good colorways, all of that. Another one that you can re-rig a whole bunch. The Spro Craw Nugget was the most destructible of all of them that we tried. And we tried all of the most popular ones. I think we had 7 brands.
And that was a copier. That was not an original. It's not like they made that and we're like, oh, well, I guess it's not that durable. They were like, oh, durability is a problem. I will go ahead and make it worse.
So the Spro Craw Nugget is essentially the depths cover scat exactly with wings. It's got 2 little wings on the back, right? That's the main difference. So what it does is it gives you like a slower kind of scissoring action as it falls, which is probably good and works in certain circumstances. The problem is, like, it fell apart just rigging the thing. Like, it was so just destructible, just fragile, fragile, that you almost couldn't fish with it. And at the price it is, which is around $9 to $10, you get 4. You get 4 of them. It was the biggest slap in the face I think I had this year in buying any fishing product. The biggest slap came from Spro. Now, I love Spro. You love Spro. We love many, many Spro products. That one is BS. 4, no. If they've changed that since then, great. But don't give me 4 plastics that are fragile as heck. Get out of town, man. That was I was so upset.
Brendan Brown said Z-Man's gonna drop the turds. TURDZ.
The Zerds.
And Zords. Then Zords. The Zerds. And then Kirk comes back and says the Z-Man shits. SHITZ in natural. Bro. That was perfect. It was so good.
Please, Z-Man, can we? Like, they have zinkers. So this came up in one of our comment threads recently. They were like, oh, they're all buoyant baits. Well, they have zinkers, which are the salted up worms, right? So they could salt these babies up, make them super.
All right. Well, they decided to copy. Copying's not a problem for them. They've proved it.
The Dark Sleeper, you mean? Is that what you're pulling out? Oh, the old Gobius Dark Sleeper? Yeah.
They recently hit the market.
The old brand new Dark Sleeper?
Old, completely, totally new, never been seen before.
I can't wait to fish with that thing, honestly.
I am very excited, but it's just copying's not a problem. So I think the turds could happen.
Copies come up in a little bit. We'll get there. Okay. So this next one you got to talk about.
What's the next one?
Oh, that's perch to Z-Man. That's a perch.
This color, is perch,
obviously.
You psychos. All right. So the next one, this is kind of hard because these are really nice and they are very quality.
Yeah.
But I called them out as a bottom feeder on the bottom category. The the Mega Bass BFS series. So they dropped about 10 baits, something like that. Baits. The dark. Oh god.
The dark floater.
Floaters.
Oh god. All right, go ahead.
So they released like a handful, of baits. And they were
Yep.
specifically for BFS, and they looked really cool. So I bought them. I got 2 crankbaits, 2 jerk baits, 1 topwater walking bait, and a popper. And you want to know what the total was for that list of baits I just rattled off?
100?
It's over $100.
Oh my god.
$114. Each one is like $14 to $18.
Yeah.
So it's like, what are we doing here? This is not a value. These are great baits. They all work really well. But like they're gorgeous. They work well finished. But you know what? That's just too darned expensive. Especially when you're running light line, and you're just gonna have that stolen anyways. What are we doing here?
Yep.
So that's bottom. Sorry. Great baits. If you want to buy one and you have the money, do it. But woof.
No, it is uncalled for, considering the fact that there are you can go straight to the JDM market and get legitimate JDM lures from like Bait Finesse Empire, for example, or even AliExpress for so much less, and they fish really well. Like it's just absurd. So yeah, I totally agree. That was a big miss. It was Mega Bass, who's they're a JDM brand that has moved to Mega Bass of America, but that line,
I didn't expect them to be cheap. I didn't think
no,
they were inexpensive.
But I expect them to find and catch fish for me specifically at that price. Also, did you know this? Check this out. The Maytel Masters, you guys, has no side plate switch. It just straight up just comes off. I actually never called this out in the reviews for this thing. It just comes off.
We need to send that to Punch Fishing. He'll really appreciate the quality of that build.
I will. Punch, this reel is yours. I'm sending it to you. Deal with it. I don't care if you don't want it. You're getting it. All right. Next up.
Literal recycle for him.
Exactly. So next up, you also got. So we were lucky enough to have this rod sent to us. This is the St. Croix Trigon. Now I'm going to specify this next word, the grip, right? We think that the rod, there he is. I'll put it on the NRX. Why? Oh, Paul bailed on that. He's like, oh, NRX, I'm out of here. Punch Fishing, if you will put this on, oh my gosh, Paul is totally broken, you guys. There he is. No, I removed him. If you put this on the NRX, I mean, I'm pretty sure that means you'll go viral. Get out of town.
That's like putting a Lamborghini engine in a John Deere.
I want that though. You just said the best idea ever. Like, I want to see a John Deere go 0 to 60 in 2.7 seconds. Get out of town. That's so epic. I can't even close this thing anymore.
Did we talk about St. Croix?
I was getting there. All right. So St. Croix comes out with the Trigon, right? The Trigon, it's the Mojo Bass. So the Mojo Bass platform has always been solid as heck. But the Trigon grip, so you have fished with this the majority, and in fact, you're suggesting that I put my ARC BFS reel on this. So you tell me, what was your experience with the Trigon grip?
It's not that, okay. When they released the Trigon, they tried to make it like it was like this huge deal. And I'm like, it's a new grip. It's straighter. Yeah. I get it. It's cool, but it's not that cool. It's not that big of a deal. Then they put on this BFS version of the Trigon, or the oh god, that's awesome.
Things we learn on these podcasts.
So funny. So then they put it on Mojo. They put the Trigon grip on the Mojo Bass, the BFS version. We get a hold of it. Look, it's comfortable. I'm not saying it's not comfortable, but the percentage of people, the whole point of where you actually grip the rod is totally not addressed by the Trigon. You're gonna touch a fraction, a very small fraction, like 5% of that reel, even if you're a person with big hands, like 10% maybe of the Trigon as you fish, because no one uses it zing, nobody does it that way. No one grips it like that. And so They like redesigned something that you don't use. Like,
it was disappointing for that reason.
Thanks for making the entirety of my third row back seat the nicest part of my car, but like no one goes back there.
But I'm one person.
I'm in the driver's seat, bro. This is the only one that matters. Like, what are we talking about? Like, that's how it felt. So the Mojo Bass, the rod itself, very nice. It's even at 185, it's still a value. It's really nice. But the grip, stupid.
Stupid.
It's dumb.
Somebody calls it right.
A marketing disaster.
Oh, speaking of marketing disasters, our favorite company, Lunker Hunt, made the Skitter Lizard.
Speaking of marketing disasters, so true, bro. Oh my god, like that whole marketing team could just get obliterated.
Man.
And they'd double their sales the next day.
They would
skyrocket.
All right, love them or hate them, Lunker Hunt comes out with some absurd lures. I think that's the best descriptive term that I can use.
The nicest.
Absurd, right? We've used the Lunker Hunt Spider. I'll be honest, we don't use the Lunker Hunt Spider anymore, you guys. Like, it's fine. It's just not something that we're going after. But they did drop the Skitter Lizard, which was not this year, but we used this year. So early on, we went spring fishing. You were like, you know what we should do? Let's take all the weird lures, like the Molix Beetle, the Skitter Lizard, what else do we have? Name one other. I don't know. We had a million of them.
We had a ton of stuff from John.
Mostly Lunker Hunt, the Battle Beetle, the Prop Turtle, like just things we had gotten from Lunker Hunt, either from Mystery Tackle Box, Monster Bass, or like whatever. I generally try not to buy them, but like, we got them from somewhere and they've just been sitting on a shelf. We haven't fished with them. So we did a video. We're like, oh, let's fish all the weird lures we got. So we did that. And from that video, we found out the Skitter Lizard is like complete and utter total garbage. Like
it's also like $14 retail.
It's $14. Do you even sell it anymore? I don't even know if they sell it anymore. In fact,
they have to because there's no way they get rid of all the ones they made.
There's no way they got rid of all of it. And like the biggest complaint people make when I say
what a bunch of buffoons.
I say I don't like the Skitter Lizard. It's down to $9. It's on Tackle Warehouse.
Oh my god,
$9.
$9.
Okay, it certainly had a retail value of $13.49. And it'll show that on Tackle Warehouse if you see. So it's 33% off right now. Yeah, you guys, it's like 2-piece. One's hollow body, one's that Lunker Hunt foam that you know and you love. It's got 3 hooks on it with a trailer hook. It's a frog bait. It does not run right. It just does not. I don't care how you set it up.
Just throw in the dumpster hunt pile of failures. Move on. So bad.
Honestly, we had a tough time coming up with 5 bad things from this year. There were so many good things. We were like, oh yeah, we fished this.
Well, there's a couple. Lizard. So let's get into the kayaks because it's like a bonus category. That was like everything we used for the year. Let's get in the bonus category, which is kayaks. Kayaks.
So let's start with the top. Right. So the top from kayaks, the best of the best from this year from kayaks, we were absolutely blown away, you guys, by Crescent. We didn't even work with them. And we bought the kayaks that we got from Crescent. They're that good. Like, those kayaks are just so well thought out, high value, insane products that it blew our minds. And they don't even have a pedal. They're all paddle kayaks. So the fact that we went and bought paddle kayaks with our money instead of trying to get a brand deal, like, we love them. The Crescent kayaks are insane. Honestly, the Shoalies blew our minds.
They look good. They're fast. They're nice.
Absolutely. Oh, also, obviously, we have a shout out because Chaz is the man. Say less, my guy. Cheers to Nicholas Hubert. Thanks for the super chat, my dude. Awesome. So yeah, like the Crescent lineup, it wasn't just the Shoalie. Like, we bought the Shoalies. Paul also bought a Light Tackle 2, which he's going to end up putting a motor on. We'll talk about that in a second. And then we tried out the Crew. We tried out the CK1 Adventure. Was that it? I think maybe that was it. Yeah. So we tried all those, and they were just so fun to paddle around. We were on just like this little marshy section of water. And like the CK1 is a little ballerina. You can do 360s on it. It's insane. You can do 360s better than a Hobie 360 because your Hobie drive will probably break. We used the Crew super stable, extremely high weight limit. I think it was 600 pounds. It was insane. Tandem kayak that you can take out the front seat so you can fish it by yourself if you want to. Just all sorts of options with those. Just wanted to call it out. We were utterly blown away by the Crescent kayaks. They're insane. Anything else to add to that? I mean, their hats. You love their hats.
Love their hats. Happy to recommend one to anyone. They were outstanding. And Crescent, if you're listening, great job.
Good work. Okay. And also shout out to Water Dog Outfitters who helped us pick those up. Water Dog Outfitters is in Whitehall, Michigan, you guys. If you ever make the trip up to the west coast of Michigan and the Lower Peninsula, which if you haven't, it's totally worth it. Lake Michigan is beautiful. But if you go up to Whitehall, which is around a lot of those lake towns like Ludington and whatnot, but if you go up to Whitehall, it's north of Muskegon. They have an insane lineup of products. They've got a beautiful warehouse, and they've got a yak taxi that they will take you via golf cart with your kayaks, just a hop, skip, and a leap away from the actual shop onto the water, and they'll just drop you off with a whole bunch of kayaks that you can test out. So shout out to Water Dog Outfitters. These guys are awesome. Okay. I wanted to call this out. Our conversation with Old Town was refreshing, and it goes on the top list for this year because we were able to talk to Old Town, who, if you guys don't know, Old Town kayaks, canoes, whatever. They make a lot of really nice products. They also dropped the EPDL, which will come up in just a second this year. And we were able to get on the phone with these guys, just talk to them, just be real with them and be like, hey, I know you're probably pushing that EPDL. We really don't want to use that kayak. And they were like, totally cool. How do you fish? And it was like just refreshing from a brand perspective that we're having a conversation with a brand who has an obvious product they have to push this year. And they're like, oh, you don't like that? That's cool. Like, what do you like? It just turned into a fishing conversation. I was like, what? It blew my mind. It was just so cool that a company could be real like that. And it went along with like your and I plans. Obviously we planned on this year going sponsorless. So we're like, look, like we don't want to do sponsor videos. We don't want to just be like, we got these kayaks, now we have to say they're great. We want to be real about them. And we want to also probably beat the tar out of them and probably mod the shit out of them. So we're going to do all sorts of stuff to those kayaks you guys can expect in the new year here. We got a lot of plans. But yeah, as we're having this conversation, they were just so real about it. And that was impressive to me. So it's not like every brand out here is just saying like money. I don't care what you say. You're my influencer and you're going to do what I say. There's actually a really like a good group of brands out here that are totally cool with you saying what you feel is right and honest and authentic and all of that. So I just shout out to that.
Right there too.
TFO's right there too. We told TFO the same thing, and they're like
no question. They're like, do you still need a rod or what?
Yeah. And we actually, from that video, just so you guys know, from that video that we dropped saying like, in our eyes, this is best for the viewer. It's best for us when we go sponsorless, and it's best for the brand if the brand believes in it. Right. We had a bunch of brands actually reach out to us after that video. So that was really cool. And those brands you might be seeing here and there on the channel in the coming year. Again, still, we're not taking any money for those videos. Like we said, we would take product and then we're going to be real about it. We're going to tell you our honest and authentic feedback. So it was cool and kind of serendipitous how all that worked out. But yeah, shout out to Old Town for being real. Speaking of which, the Old Town Sportsman, the 106 that you picked up, we're really excited about. We think it's going to be a good all around versatile kayak that we get to use. It's one of the coolest things that we've seen this year.
Unbeaten. It's just
the stability of all the other ones.
Little engine that could. It's so stable.
Right? It's insane.
It's pretty damn fast. And it just does a lot with it fishes a lot bigger than it is. It's a great boat.
Yeah, it's a 106 that fishes like a 13-foot boat. Like it's a 10-foot-6, I should say, that fishes like a 13.
It does.
It's insane. So we're really excited about that. I'm excited about mine too, but it's for a completely different reason. I'm going to put a motor on that thing. But just wanted to call that out. The Sportsmans, we still feel are like an insane value of a pedal kayak. Another it's more expensive. I got to put that out. It's over $3,000, but like another fantastic kayak that came out this year that we got to see at ICAST was the Native Titan X. So to my guy in the comments that was like, you idiots, why did you get Old Towns? You should have got a native Titan X. I was like, hey man, my bad. Like, we didn't have a chance to do that, and we didn't have 3K to throw at it. We did ask. We talked to Native. They didn't have the budget for us this year, so that's just being real with you guys. That's why we don't have any Natives or Bonafides, because that's the same brand. But yeah, like if it would have worked out, you probably would have seen a Native Titan X, but you won't, because they didn't want to make that happen. And again, like, we're two dads with busy careers and families, and like, we don't have the finances to just throw at every kayak you can see. If a brand wants to throw us one, awesome, then we'll check it out. And that's what Old Town did, and Native did not. So it is what it is. That said, we still feel that the Native Titan X belongs on the top list for this year's
idea. And the release is extremely timely, and the price point's right. Does a lot of things really well. It's a good next step in the evolution of like the big, big rigs.
It is. It really is. I mean, it's got all the features that I love on my Hobie, and a little more reliability. If you guys know, those prop drives are a little more maintenanceable than the Hobie drives, regardless of the 180 versus the 360. The 360 is, you cannot maintain that drive. It's terrible. The 180 you can maintain. It's got quite a few more parts than a prop drive does. So it's going to be a little bit more expensive. If you're replacing the entire drive, prop drives are expensive. But if you're replacing just micro parts, like, it's pretty easy and pretty cheap.
Fix it, yeah. Anyways, they're great. Yeah.
The point is, they're great. A lot of cool features. It is a kayak that I really want to use at some point, whether I get to just demo it or if I can actually get my hands on one. I would love to have that kayak. So I wanted to call it out. If anybody's looking at the Titan X, we feel it's an extremely high value, awesome big rig option. The last one, we just had a conversation with this company, and it is exciting to say the least, because these guys are freaking real. Newport Motors. So on the top list right now, Newport Motors. Had no idea who they were, because they just blew up this year. And we saw them at ICAST, and we were like, oh my gosh, there's a new brand to compete with Torqeedo. Neat. We love Torqeedo. Like, the whole design of Torqeedo, and having watched Jeff Little, for example, if you guys want to go watch, subscribe to the channel, The Little Things, check out Jeff Little. The guy's the freaking man. And he just like navigates hundreds of miles of river a week. Like, this guy is nuts. But he uses Torqeedo majority of the time. He was working with them at one point in time. And just seeing that product in action, and in combination with, is it Innovative Sportsman?
Yep.
Yeah, Innovative Sportsman. They have a lot of accessories for motors like this. Like, it's just, the design aesthetics of it was amazing, right? Then we see Newport, and we're like, okay, like, how is this going to contend with Torqeedo? And at first we were a little bit against it, right? Like, we were like, nah, Torqeedo all the way, right?
Yeah, I had no idea, and my default was like, boo-boo.
Exactly. And then we looked into it a little bit more, and then we just reached out to him. I was like, oh, hey, what's up, guys? Do you want to chat? And we got on the phone with them, and it turns out, like, it was a person from Hobie in the past that we were like, knew. We had seen this guy in all their content before. I was like, what? No. Like, I got on the Zoom call, and I was like, I know this person. I know that I've met this person before. Super chill guy, really cool, down to earth, and just, again, honest and authentic. And like, that's what I love to see in these brands. So that conversation was amazing. I'm looking forward to potentially, I'll say, we haven't finalized anything, but like, potentially being able to get those on our kayaks. So I'd love to see that happen. Maybe drop some like new product from Newport for you guys in the future. That'd be really cool. But all in all, like, just looking at the product itself, we think that it's a pretty solid value, right? It's something you should definitely worth checking out. So there you go. So that's like our tops from the kayak category. Now, obviously, there's a disappointment.
There's a bottom.
So from the bottom of the kayak list, we got a couple.
My God.
Jumps right into it. The Go Boat. You guys, there is a circular inflatable vessel out there with a gosh dang trolling motor on it, and we do not like it. We
so stupid. And everyone like came to bat. They were like, for pond fishing, it's the best. What could ever be better than chopping your own foot off with your own motor?
So the biggest issue with a Go Boat, right? Like, one, when we were at iCast, the people operating Go Boat, like displaying and like, hey, come try it out, doing the demo, they were just playing bumper boats. And I was like, that is literally the only purpose that I see for this boat that is $1,300.
Yeah, they should lean into that.
You should just make a bumper boat. That would be amazing.
Way better.
Fishing in that thing is just not.
It was so hard to steer.
It was insanely hard to steer because it's a trolling motor backwards, and like you're facing it instead of turning away from it, and it's not intuitive. It's very difficult,
and it doesn't work. Like, you think like, I turn this to the left slightly, I will go left. It's like, nah, you do 360, maybe you go left.
You just start spinning, you guys, and that now imagine fishing out of this thing. That fish, I don't care what size it is towing you across. It's towing you across the pond.
It's a disaster.
The other big issue with it is that the drive, I'll call it, but the hole to your prop for your trolling motor is just wide open. So like,
you can put your foot in there and just lose your foot.
Your foot goes down there. Your hand goes down there. Lure goes down there. Cell phone, whap. Gone. Fish goes down there. Like, it's just
oh my God. The quick releases would not be good.
Quick release.
Yeah, it's not a good. I'm not gonna lie. It's just not a great product.
It's Indiana Jones with the prop propeller. Just
he turns into the red mist. All right. Yeah, I just think the Go Boat was a crap boat. All right. Next one is, this one's tough. Look,
this one is interesting.
I have Oru on here. That's like the foldable kayak. It comes in like plastic.
Origami kayak, you guys.
Yeah, like plastic.
Not plastic
sheets. It's not plastic. It's like a manufactured material. But
yeah,
my problem with it is like, it's such a good idea, but it's not there yet. It's not really a backpack. Like, you can't. It's gigantic, and the concept is good. It's just not there. They're also not cheap. They're quite expensive. And
if you guys want to see what the backpack looks like just go to our iCast videos. It
looks like a bouldering backpack.
It's a gigantic backpack. It's so huge. When Paul says bouldering, like, you carry a crash pad around with you, like that's what makes your backpack gigantic. If you guys have ever seen
it's a 6x12 pad. Like,
you're just like, let's go, guys. And you're the Sherpa of the mountain.
It's just not there. And like, I want it to be good. Don't get me wrong. I want that to be the coolest thing ever. I want it to work. It could happen, but only in a McDonald's commercial. Like, it's just not here.
Here's a pro for them. They did make a step stool, right? And this is to demonstrate the strength of their plastic corrugated material, whatever the hell it is, right? Yeah. They made a stool, right? And it was at their booth at iCast. And I was like, can I stand on this? Because, I mean, I'm over here weighing a 235. And I'm like, is this cool if I stand on this little flimsy piece of plastic? And they were like, yeah, totally. That's what it's for. So I stood on it. And it was actually really stable. So like, it's a pretty dense, pretty strong material. That said, I'm with Paul. It doesn't fold up very small. It is kind of gigantic. And I just don't want to unfold, like, do my origami. Hey guys, want to go fishing?
But I think it's important. The next one is also, I don't want to put on the list, but it is important. It's the Old Town EPDL. Now, if it was just the product, it would make the best list. Why is it on the bottom list? It's just the price tag. And I mean, honestly, even if it's not a problem, like for me specifically, it's a problem for enough people where I think it warrants mentioning. So
yeah,
I think they priced themselves out by about $2,000.
Yeah,
20%. It's like 20% overpriced for the value proposition.
Yeah,
it is cool. It's very cool, but like, I don't think that they have the. It shouldn't be 6,000. It just, honestly, it couldn't be. It just couldn't be. But
I think it's a kayak that when anybody sees it, or even if they get it, we got to demo it, you guys, and like, it's
cool.
It's legit. I was all in until this is like the case for it, right? Like, I was all in until they said the price. I was like, yes. I love this kayak. I want this thing. And they were like, $6,000. And I was like, oof, no. And then we put a video out on it from iCast. It was the first iCast video we did because we like rushed to their booth on the kayak demo day.
It was a new release that day.
It was a brand new release. It was they had been doing like a drip campaign for it. They were like very mysterious. They're like, what is it going to be? And Paul and I were like figuring it out. And then we went there. We did it. We're like
some form of electric,
right? Like we're like, you got to do this. We got to demo this kayak. We got to make videos. So we did. And on that video, the comments were overwhelmingly negative on the price, hands down. And we weren't surprised at all. And that's why when we talked to Old Town, we were like, I can't feel good about taking an e-pedal from you because nobody who watches me is going to buy it. I would like it. And also I just feel like it's just not authentic to our channel. Period. And they were like, oh, totally cool.
The number of people here interested in is 0.
Yeah, exactly. And this next one. So our next bottom is freaking Hobie this year, you guys. Gosh dang, Hobie let me down this year. When I say that I had been a Hobie fanboy for so long, I'm sure none of you are surprised. But like I freaking was. I loved Hobie. From the moment I saw the Pro Angler, I was like, that's the kayak for me.
It's still the best hull in the business.
It's the best hull in the business. But when they did the 360, even the XR, like who cares? The XR is such a slap in the face for 360 owners. It's ridiculous because it's like, oh, look, we fixed it.
Clips.
It won't. You can't put an XR drive in your normal 360 drive. So it's such a slap in the face.
Fucking.
But at the end of the day, like the 360 in concept is amazing. The hull of the Pro Angler is amazing and has been for decades. I wish the 360 drive worked. It just freaking doesn't. And like also, you know, this problem too. So Will Travel to Fish, like hulls are cracking. That's a big issue. Does the XR fix that? No, it's not. I have heard stories where people got their Pro Angler 360 first day on the water filled with water. Like, so what is, that was in our comments, Paul. What is this brand doing about this? Nothing. They're just coming out with slight upgrades every year or so. So it's just ridiculous. We feel slighted because we wanted the boat to be as amazing as it proposed it would be, and it just wasn't. It's frustrating. When you spend that much money on a boat, like obviously it's going to be frustrating. So, it was the down with Hobie year for us. It was not ideal. That's where we are with it. Okay, this next one is interesting. 3 hulls this year? Jesus. It's ridiculous. Look, this should not be happening. Okay, so the next one's kind of interesting. It's not like a dig at any brand or particular kayak, but a category of kayaks. So we got the chance. We were forced to use paddle only kayaks this year quite a bit due to our 360 drive failures. Paul's broke, mine broke. And what happens to us at that point is like we resort to the backup kayak, right? And the backup kayaks were paddle kayaks. So we resort to our paddle kayaks. And the interesting part about this is it was actually really well. Pause. Shout out to Tom Allred for the $5 super chat. Thank you so much, my friend. I will get to the skiff trend in just a second. Great call out. We're going to talk about that. So just to wrap up on paddle kayaks, right? It was surprisingly good, right, Paul? Like you used one more than I did this year, but I also used one quite a bit this year. What were your thoughts on paddling over pedaling?
I was super happy to be paddling. It was surprising how efficient I was. I couldn't believe how fast I was. There were times where I didn't love it, but there's times where I hated being in a pedal kayak too, and it's probably about the same ratio. So, I loved it. But yeah, I mean, and I could do it. In the light tackle too, I could do it like full time. On the river, happy to do it. But it's not preferable to a pedal. I would still recommend someone get a pedal. And compared to a motorized, I don't think they're in the same category.
Yeah, and I would totally agree with that. I had fun paddling, but it's just that. It's like it's fun in a small confined area. It's when you need to travel, it's when you need to move, it's when you need more mobility that I prefer pedal and motor. Like especially with just speed to spot. If I want to move from here to here, there's no competition. Now, pedal versus paddle, you can paddle potentially faster than a pedal kayak, especially like versus a Hobie if you've got a slim and trim kayak. that said, you're probably working harder. Like you're just working harder to do that. So it was great to have the experience, and at the same time we learned like, oh, I don't prefer this at all.
Yeah, and when I get knocked down to that level again, which I'm sure it'll happen, I
Yeah.
won't be mad. Like I did it for 6 months. So
Hmm.
fished all paddle for 6 months. I was very happy. I
Yep.
mean, did you I never complained. I don't think I did.
No, not really. No, you were a trooper, man. You stuck it out, and we fished bigger lakes, and like I was in my pedal just whipping around, and like
On
you were
St.
just
Clair for
yeah, no, exactly. No, 100%, man. Like you powered through it, and I think it was again, it was nice to
yeah.
get back to the roots once in a while, but not to be forced into that corner. I don't want that. So yeah, paddling good rivers and back lakes, 100%. Like the shoalie for us is it's always going to be paddle. We're not putting a motor on it. And for those river purposes, it's phenomenal. Love it. Just at the same time, I'm like, man, could probably get a pedal or a motor back here.
Yeah.
All right,
So
so
that's it for top bottom kayaks?
that's it for top bottom kayaks. I want to hit this real quick. We didn't put skiff on our list, but I do want to call it out. The skiffs, the interesting about skiffs there's like a high upfront appeal to them, and to me the back end ownership point of view to me is a no. It's an absolutely not. I don't see value in them. The Milha light skiff, I know what you're talking about. I pulled it up. This is one that's
Isn't
been
that just like
floating.
this boat?
It looks like a
Oh,
gigantic
that's the is that the plastic
plastic
one? Yeah.
toy vessel with like the doors and stuff.
Is that a skiff?
It is. If you guys go watch DIY Kayak, he's got we met him at iCast. He's been fishing out of this thing a lot. I don't want this boat. It doesn't look comfortable to sit in. Skiffs, one of the things is most of the time you don't have a seat. You sit on a cooler. In the case of the light skiff, you sit in just like a little recessed area. There's no back support. So if you're a kayaker like us, like back support is something you're going to miss. You just don't know it yet until you don't have it. And then you're going to be like, oh my God, where's my
Storage
back
seems like,
support?
oh, this won't be a big deal, but like if you have two people on the boat and you're trying to lift those stupid things up, like you're
Yeah.
gonna be furious. Like it's just that most skiffs, they're cool because you can do the trim water, you can
Yeah.
pull if you want to, you can put a full motor on it, sweet. You can find a way to bring what you need to bring,
Yeah.
certainly, but they are
Oh,
still they're lacking quite a bit of maneuverability once you
yeah.
get to your spot. You definitely are gonna have a hard time bringing all the stuff that you want. You're gonna have
They're
to
not paddle.
really pare that back. I don't care what, it's just is what it is. And, they
Yeah.
have them set up for, like, rivers and stuff. I'm like, "I don't know about that." Like, I
Yeah.
want that 6, 8-inch gunnel at least. I think there are the Bonafide one looks really cool. I think it'd be a lot of fun to have one. I'd like to try it so I could really say and have an informed
Yeah.
opinion. That's just my thoughts on it. They look like a lot of fun though. I agree with Jeff. I want one.
They look cool. They look fun. And to your point, the Bonafide is more of like a sup skiff hybrid. Like a
Mhm.
lot of these skiffs, they do have gunnels, like the one that we saw at Water
Yeah.
Dog. You remember that one?
Mhm. Mhm.
And those are like to me inshore boats, and
That's a boat. Yeah,
we don't have inshore, so it's
it's a
not a
little
thing that we
boat.
do.
Yeah.
Um, when I'm still trying to maintain like a one person plastic vessel, like it doesn't fit the vibe, right?
Mm,
So I don't know about all that. The Bonafide skiff, it does look interesting. It's like a sup skiff hybrid.
mhm.
I don't know how I feel about not having gunnels. I'm with you. Like I just don't. I kind of want that. I need my recessed inner area of
Exactly.
protection for my bait graveyard. Like, where does that go on a skiff? It just throw it in the water. Just throw away all your jigs. Got it. So yeah, not for me. That's our opinion. You'll probably never see a skiff on this channel. Just being real with you. All right, so let's get to oh, this is a fun section here. We got fishing trips that we went
Yep.
on. We went on a few fishing trips. Not as is it? No,
No.
that's a pretty typical year for us, no? You know, I
Yeah,
mean,
typical
we typically have
year,
like one, maybe two big trips, right?
which is yeah, that's pretty yeah, this is a standard year.
If
Well,
we get
and so
one, I'm like, yes.
our list was kinda like one, I would say, like, early in the year, we took the canoe out where it was Jeff and I in the canoe.
That was
Jeff caught a
awesome.
huge fish, and then,
Yeah,
like,
almost
it was
five.
just a ton of fun. I really enjoyed it. We only had 3 rods each, and we each had a backpack, and that was it.
Super light.
And
Yep.
I really enjoyed myself. I felt like with two of us paddling, we were hoofing it. We were flying, and
Yep.
we had some long paddles, and it was never that bad. Like I really enjoyed the canoe, and I would definitely do it again.
Also, we broke through ice to get out on the water that
Sure
day.
did.
So that was fun. It's always fun just like
That
being
was cool,
an
man.
ice breaking vessel on your way to the lake. That was fun. So yeah, the canoe trips were cool. And then you've got is the Old Town 14 foot? It's a 14-foot canoe.
Saranac, yeah,
The
14.
Saranac, yeah.
14, yeah.
Solid canoe, decent features, comfy seats. It's solid all around.
Yeah.
So the next one, gosh dang, like we had some days on St. Clair this year,
Yeah.
Which is maybe to those who know St. Clair, like no surprise whatsoever. But it can be tough, especially when you have to fish as close to the bank as we do in the specific spot that we're at, right? Like you can travel a distance, but like in a kayak, how far out you going? And you were restricted to your paddle kayak most of the year that you had there,
Yep.
or we're fishing from the break wall. Like that's the majority of the fishing that we do. We had killer days on the break wall. You weren't able to fish as much the day that I was out there, but I was. So I like hopped out on my boat, went a distance, came back, caught just endless amounts of fish. It was insane. One of, if not the best day for me, probably numbers wise, it was the best day. I guess I would say that it was probably numbers wise the best day for me this year. So St. Clair was killer, absolute top of the list for fishing trips this year. And then we had we did talk about early spring trips with the canoe, but also just in general, early spring trips were insane. And this is more like foreshadowing for this year. Like this year, hopefully going into spring, we're going to try to plan some trips. I think spring trips will be on the docket. I think we'll have a lot of fun with them. I love the early stuff. It's like ice is breaking away. Like the fish they're active. The water temps are down, but they're active. And you can get out there. And now that we have like A-rigs and blade baits and tailspins and stuff on our repertoire, like I think we can go out and just hammer them. So I'm excited about that. The early spring trips this year, 2023, where it's so close though. But they were awesome. We had some good trips, and hopefully we can hit the river early this year too for 2024. We got to do that.
Agreed.
Get out in the river. That brings us to Alabama, which was a terrible time. Wouldn't you agree?
Wow.
Alabama was awesome.
It was great.
We didn't catch any PBs and it was still awesome. That's how good the Alabama trip was. Like we kind of expected like, oh, you go down south, you got to catch like a 10-pounder. That's like a required thing. Well, that didn't happen. And we still had a blast. I think one of the coolest things about going down to Alabama, fishing with KBF crew and just endless amounts of other, we'll call them we're all influencers, right? Endless amount of other content creators. That's probably a better term. I like that term a lot more. At that event was a blast. We got to see Chaz in person for the first time. Wow. So that was neat. And he made us shotgun some beers, some Sunny Bills. So that was awesome. I love that he didn't forget that he made us promise to do that for like 3 years. Like 3 years ago, we promised that. We finally met in person. So that was cool. And then we met a lot of you guys, which was awesome. And some of you were on the team, on our team. Some of you were on other teams. If you were staying at the campsite, shout out to you. You guys were awesome. We did some fun giveaways at the campfire. That was cool. And yeah, just getting a chance to hang out with you guys and go fish with you guys was an absolute
It was great.
blast. Good all around trip. I loved it. All right, you guys. I think it's close enough to the end of the show at this point. We got to wrap things up. We do have a giveaway for you. So what we're going to do is we're going to give away a shirt from our shop. So if you want to see what those graphics are, you can click below in our store. But we do have, I'll pick a hashtag in just a second here, Chaz. We do have a flip around and find out shirt. We got a Ned Rig Nerd shirt. We got the Aggressively Average Angler shirt. And we actually have the Lunker Hunt Spider I'm a Frog shirt still available in a couple of different colors. We do also have hoodies. I'll tell you what. I'll do a hoodie today. Dude, it's the end of the year. You know what? Heck it. It's the end of the year.
Wendy's.
Sir, this is a Wendy's. We've got 122 people watching. All right.
I
So you
love
know
it.
what? If anybody ditched out, you might want to tell them we're doing
You
a
can
hoodie giveaway.
choose hoodie or any shirt, and if you want a couple decals instead, just let us know. But anything on the shop, either get one shirt. If you get the hoodie, I mean that's just Jeff being generous, and then we'll throw in a couple of decals if you want to swap those out.
There you go. So we'll figure it out with you. You'll end up emailing us. We'll get your details, and then you can tell us what you want from the shop. How about that?
Hashtag hoodie.
Hashtag hood E, which is HOODIE, unless he decides to spell it like some funky way. I don't know what he's doing.
It's Houdini.
Houdini. Hashtag Houdini.
Houdini.
And at this point, I'm gonna enjoy some apple pie. What do you guys say about that? All right. So if you guys haven't been here before, if you're watching from Facebook, for example, you need to go to YouTube in order to enter into this giveaway. If you're on YouTube, you need to go into chat and you need to type in hashtag hoodie, HOODIE. That's the only way that you get entered. I see 33 people understood the instructions. So keep it going, you guys, and we'll give you a little bit of time for this. So let's get into Slow Rolling Thunder, the last one of the year. This one's epic. Ready? Overrated, underrated, Paul.
Oh, we didn't do that. We did so it's not overrated, underrated. What I have is I have 3 questions.
Oh, you changed it. I had overrated.
It was an old one.
The
overrated, underrated. It was.
No,
it was
wasn't.
from yeah, it was.
I made it up. Shut up.
All right, cool.
Fine. Do your questions.
So one of my questions was, and this is something everyone always like, oh, what's the coolest thing good for Christmas? I hate that question. What my favorite question is, I hate it. I despise it. One of my favorite question is, what is the best gift that you got someone?
The best gift that I got someone.
Mine is so easy. So for there were a couple that I was happy with.
Yeah.
One was a sleeper for sure. But so we had like our friend miss. And so what I got for the guys that I still live in the rugby house with was limited edition collector booster, like very expensive card packs from Lord of the Rings version of Magic the Gathering. So in those packs, in these, and they don't make this limited edition anymore, and it comes with like very rare art. It's incredible. I'm telling you right now, hands down, coolest thing. We had 12 packs to open between the 4 of us. It was dope.
Awesome,
and we cracked some packs, and it was a ton of fun. And I'm still nerding out over it.
I love it. So probably my best gift. There's gifts that we got for our kids, but we can't. I can't talk about it because Santa was involved with helping me do that.
Yep.
So the one that I will mention though is for my wife. My kids and I were at. Here's the funny thing. So if you guys don't know, my youngest, she's autistic, and she's very specific about things that she does, and she doesn't really like absorb a lot of information from others. Right. She's kind of in her own world. Okay. So she's in TJ Maxx with my wife, and my wife is walking around probably going like, I like this, I like that, trying to drop hints at her. Cause then dad's going to come in with my oldest daughter and like go pick out something for her. So I get in there. She ends up handing me my youngest daughter. So now I've got both my daughters, and I go to my youngest and I go, all right, what was mom looking at? What does she like? What kind of ideas did she give you? And she just goes, I don't know. She gives me nothing. So she was not helpful.
Useless. Thanks for nothing. Moving on.
Then both my girls were like, all right, let's walk around TJ Maxx and let's just find something really fun, like really cool that we think mom will love. Right. And we walk around for a little bit, and we end up at like, if you don't know, TJ's has like all the clothing, right? But they go from like, pants to shirts to hoodies to coats, right? Somewhere between hoodies and coats, they have a section that is like essentially wearable blankets. So we go to that section, and they have just a gigantic, like a Fort for a one hoodie, and I'm like, that's it, that's the one. So we grabbed that, and it turns out, and it was like it's not the most expensive gift, and it doesn't matter, but like that's the gift. My wife was like, this is the one, like this was my favorite thing, and now she's wearing it all the time. It's so freaking cool. So I love gifts like that. Like it's not the most expensive, not the cheapest, but it's just like the in the middle, right? Like it's the good sweet spot, right? I love it. So that was it for me. And yeah, Christmas was a blast. I hope you guys had a good Christmas too.
All right, roll this giveaway.
Yeah, let's roll a schmiv.
And while that's going, well, we'll see who it is. I'm mentally drum rolling.
Yeah. We got to give him a chance. We'll do another question on the way out. Dakota Henderson is the Schwinner, as we like to call it. So Dakota Henderson, if you are here, you have to say hello. I am here, and also a human person.
As of 2 minutes ago, he was here.
All right. Well, hopefully you're still here. You got to say something in chat. Let us know that you're still here. And then you follow the instructions at the bottom of the screen.
And while we're waiting,
let's do the next one.
Jeff, yours was best apps to serve for New Year's Eve.
Yes, that was.
Go.
All right. So speed round, best appetizers to serve at New Year's Eve. Or if you're not serving, if you're not hosting, your favorite appetizers for New Year's Eve. So you guys list them off in chat too. And we're still waiting on Dakota Henderson, who doesn't have very much time left. So make Dakota say
deviled
something.
Eggs.
Deviled eggs is personally my favorite appetizer. And the one most commonly forgotten by relatives. And gosh 100%. Dang it. Here's what
are people doing? It's not hard.
Ready for this? You guys ready for this? No. I show up with a dozen gosh dang eggs and I make my own deviled eggs.
Absolutely.
I'm just like, oh, you don't have deviled eggs? Hey, don't worry. I brought a deviled egg dish.
I brought my own.
my own mayo, my own mustard, and my own eggs. Get out of town. We're doing this.
I need a spoon.
I'm gonna need a spoon. I'm gonna need a pot to boil these eggs in. Let's go.
Oh God. All right. Dude, shrimp is an interesting answer.
Shrimp, I think depends because I have had very bad shrimp.
It's always trash, man. It's always boiled to the brink of death. Did we get this kid on here? Who are we looking for?
Oh, Dakota Henderson. Chaz, have you seen him?
10 count. 10.
Oh, Dakota 10 seconds. Henderson. Sorry.
If you don't type hi or something in 10 seconds, you lose.
9,
10,
8, 7, 6.
Well, this is too fast. 3,
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
2.
Reroll.
We're re-rolling. You lost. I'm sorry. That sucks. Oh, not gonna be the end of here. Sorry.
All Danny right.
Biotti.
Oh no! Oh no! that is called a buzzer beater, Paul.
Because did he beat the buzzer?
He did.
It's 9:41.
At the time that it popped up, it was when you counted down and there's a delay. So I think we have an interesting situation on our hands.
I think Danny gets a couple of decals and we'll hook our bro up here.
All right. So I need Dakota and Danny and Chaz, whose device is disconnected, apparently has disappeared. Dakota and Danny, please follow the instructions on the screen. That means you got to show us your YouTube profile so we know that it's you. And we'll remember that Dakota was the first winner and Danny's the second, right? So Danny, we'll get you something for getting listed in here. And apparently Chaz is coming back. I don't know. There's a spiraling logo. All right. So we'll wrap up with best apps, right? So Dakota, Danny, follow the instructions. We got you. We'll hook you up.
I think that I think anything that's cheese and meat rolled together. So anything, literally.
I was going to say charcuterie, like in general.
Yeah,
charcuterie. If you got charcuterie
with cheese combo,
I
want to say dry rub wings.
Ooh,
like it. Oh my
That's
God!
clutch.
Come on. Now you can't really have the sauce when you're wearing a suit or something. You don't want to be dealing with that. But like a dry rub wing.
Yep.
Yeah, it goes pretty good with the champagne.
It's pretty gnarly, man. Like, so I'm with you.
It's pretty gnarly. Man.
It's pretty gnarly, dude. I too.
Jalapeno poppers is a phenomenal answer.
Jalapeno poppers is one of my. That was one I was going to say.
Really good sausage balls.
Go-to.
Venison sausage. Good answers.
Love that.
All wings though. There were some other
sausage
answers.
Meatballs if they're done right. I love some Swedish meatballs.
Buffalo chicken dip is a problem.
In that you're going to eat
cream
the entire
cheese
thing.
And ham, Michigan sushi. I love it.
Okay, how do you feel about
raw beef and onions? Not that good.
No. What about water chestnuts wrapped in bacon? What is that called?
No, that's not no.
I love
pigs
those.
in a blanket can stay, but
pigs
they need a dip. They need a dip. We just had these. We made them at home. They need a dip.
Dove breast with a little seasoning.
Really? Wow.
bro. What is?
I'm with little schwitz there.
Where are we showing up?
Yeah, I don't know what kind of parties you're going to, Keegan, but
gosh,
yeah,
dang.
mine stuff here is like all from the Costco freezer. Like we're not.
There's a lot of
Chamois
Rolls
yachts.
Royces out
Sounds
front.
fire,
That's all
but
I'm saying.
so does like going to a 38-star restaurant. Jesus.
Yeah.
All right.
See, I'm not alone. Get out of town. I love it. All right.
They exist, but that's not for me.
They exist.
We did what we said we were gonna do.
Did we? All right. Schmivaways were schmivs.
We sure did.
We had a fun time. We went through our best and worst of the year. Hopefully you guys had a fun time too. And obviously we will be back in 2024 because this was our last live of the year. So next year, Wednesday, we will be back here live. I don't know what we're going to talk about, but it's going to be a lot of fun, right? Right, Paul? Right?
Yep.
Right, buddy?
Jeff, take us out.
Paul's having a good time. All right, you guys, thank you so much for hanging with us this year. Lots of different changes have occurred, and obviously, we're moving into the new year with no sponsors, but we're going to have a lot of fun. It's going to be some very good changes, I would say, for our content. Some really cool things that we are excited about to drop for you early in the new year. So stay tuned with us. Share the channel, smash the like, do the subscribe stuff, all those things. Chaz and myself, let's take us out. We'll see you guys in 2024.